All right. Sounds great. Yes, I am Tom Vargas. Actually, I'm an ordained minister, so I'm a Reverend Tom Vargas, and I like to start off this this hour with a meditation, and this comes from the very first book of Joel Goldsmith that I read. I actually went into a bookstore and wanted to find a book that was based on meditation to give me some hints on meditation, and I had no idea what I was going to stumble onto by picking up this book. Anyways, here is the meditation that I chose for today. Father, I seek nothing. I come to you in the same spirit in which I go to my mother, were my mother available for communion, just for love. You are the Father and Mother of my being. You are the source of my life. You are the soul of me, the spirit of me. I have no favors to ask of you. I come to you for the joy of communion, to feel the assurance of your hand in mine, the touch of your finger on my shoulder, just to be in thy presence. But yes, when I picked up this book, I was just looking for maybe some techniques or whatever to meditate, and I had no idea who Joel Goldsmith was or whatever. And after reading this first book, it was a lifelong relationship with Joel's work. I ended up getting, probably every single book that he's done. And at the time, there was no such thing as CDs. We had cassettes. And so I would buy the cassettes and listen to them. And I was just really not attached, but really resonated with Joel, and still am. Actually, since being in the Course in Miracles, I understand him a lot better, and just want to be in that consciousness where he's coming from in his books, because he is definitely dwelling in the highland of love, for sure. But anyways, what I thought I would do today would come into a personal experience that encountered just actually yesterday. I wanted to do a talk on specialness, and which I probably will do in the later part of the show. But I was thinking about this for all evening and then today, and I just thought, well, if I'm over there going with this round and round in my head, I might as well just bring it up on the show. I think this is a problem, or not really a problem. It's an opportunity for learning in an everyday situation, and I really do think that everyone runs into something like this once in a while. So anyways, the way this started is that just a little bit of a background is that I assist in a ministry, and in a Spanish ministry where we use one of the a sanctuary of another, not another religion, but another church group. I'll put it that way, without giving away the whole particulars. And we use their sound equipment. So we've been doing this for a couple years, and then every once in a while we get into this thing where one of the board members, she doesn't like the way we put things away, and so every once in a while she says something. So we had one of those incidents that happened yesterday, And so what happened was there was something that wasn't put away, or one cord was missing, or something like that. And so she puts out an email saying that we are all inconsiderate, and so on and so forth. So the initial reaction of the people in my side of the ministry, or the ministry that I assist with, well, we were taken back by that. We felt the attack, and we took it as an attack. And so we had the commentary going back and forth, and all of this. And so I imagine we're supposed to meet sometime in the future to get this meeting and get it all straightened out. Like one of the board members over there, said there's like a come to Jesus kind of meeting, and they're sick and tired and blah blah blah, whatever. So anyways, it is that situation, I think, is pretty typical of a situation where a person is close to another person or another community or whatever, and there's someone that says something, and then take it personal. And I'll just kind of like make a transition to where I'm talking about my personal experience instead of them, and but anyways, it would be like someone close to me said something, and then I had like an automatic reaction to it. So if I can just begin there in terms of the way the Course would explain the dynamics that are happening here, would be the first person that is upset. The first thing that I would think, in my experience, would be that this person is not upset for the reason they think they are. And to me, this means that whatever happened with the thing not getting put away was a projection of her feeling of separation. I don't know exactly what's the specific feelings or whatever it was, or the dynamics of the reason as what happened to her when she was a child and all that, but I've learned that none of that really matters, because all those different reasons are invented, made up reasons to mask what the real reason is, and the real reason is separation. And so when I look at that situation, I see her as projecting that separation that she has onto this thing that happened to her. And it also came to mind that she uses this occasionally, every once in a while, and it's always the same thing. And even if it was true, even if we did leave things out and we didn't put stuff away, or we lost things, and all that, in my mind, the way I'm looking at it, all of that really doesn't even matter, even if it was 100% true, because she's still looking for that, or not, she's looking for it, her ego is still looking to find something, somewhere, some instance, a circumstance, to project that separation on. So it's not going. She's not going to look at it within herself. And so, being that it is a projection, she doesn't really recognize exactly what she's doing. She doesn't recognize that she's throwing the thought out there and identifying that as the source of her unease. And what she's doing is believing that the thought that she has, and this is an unconscious thing, that thought that she has can actually leave her mind and be attached to something physical. Like an idea can physically attach, her idea can physically attach to a person, place, things, circumstances, or whatever, and actually become it. But this is all an unconscious thing, because when it gets conscious, it takes on a whole different dynamic. So if we look at their, thoughts do not leave their source, then all of this is actually going on in her mind. Her thought that she is projecting out and identifying that person with is now called inconsiderate. So this person that is the inconsiderate one, which I'll say that it's me, and it probably is me, is me. I'm not looked at in the light of Christ's consciousness, and just to mention, this is a belief system, this church group that preaches the same things pretty close to the course. So this is something that she should recognize that she's doing, but it really doesn't make any difference, because I'm a course student and I still do it, but I try to correct it. But who knows? Maybe she's doing the same thing. I don't know. Which really has nothing to do with the whole dynamics of the thing. So what is true in her mind is this person, or which is me, my identity now is an identity of a person that is not inconsiderate, but a person that is considerate. The inconsiderate is the definition and the identity that I now have. I am the definition of inconsiderateness, if that's such a word, walking around. And that my identity of who I really am in Christ is completely lost in her, which really means that the reason this whole thing is happening is because she's not identifying herself with the Christ, and she can't extend the Christ that she is if she's not aware of that happening within herself, because we extend, project whatever our consciousness is. If I'm seeing someone that's inconsiderate, that means that I'm the one that has an issue with myself. I consider myself inconsiderate, and that could take on, who knows, like I said, what happened when she was a child or whatever, where maybe your mother called her inconsiderate for not putting something away. Who knows? But the thing is that that is where this is a whole dynamic that started off the whole thing. And so she's projecting that out, and so here we are, we're thinking everything is cool, and so now we have someone that is personally calling us out as considerate. So this person is telling me, or telling our group, defining us that we're inconsiderate. Now, because we are all in a state, some kind of state of separation here, there's going to be a part of us, more or less, that is going to believe that part of us being, or me being, inconsiderate. So, of course, the very first thing that I'm going to do when that comes across my ego consciousness is flip that whole dynamic around and do what she just finished doing to me without me recognizing it initially. Is she is the one that's inconsiderate by calling us inconsiderate. And I had a whole bunch of reasons and thoughts and justification as to why I'm not inconsiderate. We put all this time in, and we volunteer, and we contribute, we tithe to the well-being of this church, and like the musicians, they rehearse on their own time, and we put in a lot into the well-being, not only of our ministry but of that church. And so I had my whole mind going of justifying that I'm not inconsiderate, and that doesn't belong to me, and it doesn't belong to any of us. But that's the ego part, the ego strategy in defending that projection that I just made, without even recognizing that that's what I'm doing. I'm doing exactly what she did. My unease that comes about from being accused of being inconsiderate hasn't really nothing to do with what she said or what she accused me of. All it was an excuse for my ego to jump on it and project it out. And excuse me. And hold on, the cord is caught right here. Yes, for me to project that out, where I'm not the one to blame, and I'm the one that is the victim of this whole scenario, and I deserve to attack back. And there's something in the Course that says this about attack, and I just can't put my finger on it right now, where it says something to the effect like, if I feel attacked, I'm the one that is attacking, or something of that nature. But my ego is being threatened by this attack. My specialness is being attacked by this accusation. My identity, my integrity, my defense, or my like Ram Dass had a good word for, like, not like a monkey suit, but my costume or whatever was being, was at the risk of being destroyed or exposed or something like that, where that is the thing that's being threatened, is my specialness, my identity, of being the person, the what I want to project. What I want to project to protect my survival strategy out in the world. So there's something in me that says I can't be considered inconsiderate, because that doesn't work on my survival strategy of getting what I want from people, from getting along with people, from how people are going to view me, since I'm a reverend right now and I can't be called inconsiderate. And so it's that whole dynamic of this whole identity that I've invented in order for me to survive, or order for my ego to survive, that and has developed all of these defenses. And this is one of the things I got to watch out for, and I've got to reject it, and I got to fight it, and I got to defend it, because there's danger that my identity is going to be exposed as an inconsiderate person, or whatever the danger comes from. And the thing about it is before, I would never really even question why I would have to defend any kind of name calling or any kind of accusation or whatever. It would just come up, and then I would project it out, that this person's making me feel a certain way, or this people's doing this to me, and that person has no right to say what they're saying, and on and on and on. So I had developed also a sense of entitlement, that people have got to treat me in a certain way, and if they didn't, then they are immediately in the wrong. So the ego has all this huge arsenal of reasons, defenses, of everything to justify hanging on and defending that identity that has been so carefully manufactured and made up to give us, or give me, my best chance of surviving in this world. So, in having said all of that, and my initial reaction was this whole counter attack from the ego, because my identity has got to be protected. And as soon as I kind of felt like, this feeling is not right, I don't feel right, and I'm so fortunate nowadays that I can get that feedback, where when I'm not feeling in alignment, when I'm not at peace, and it can be just any little thing nowadays, that I can stop and say, okay, well, what am I protecting? What am I giving my power to? What is this, person or situation threatening for me? And sometimes they're just little subtle things that on the surface don't mean a lot, but they'll still I'll feel something on a feeling level, and I can go in and look at it for what it is. It's something that really doesn't mean a whole lot, and it still bothers me, and I'm able to for the most part, that projection, I'm able to reel it in, reel that thought in, peel that identity, that meaning, that projection that I pasted on the person's face, and peel that off, bring it back in like I'm reeling it in on a fish pole or whatever, and bring that thought back, bring that projection back, and realize that this is mine. This really did not leave its source. It's always been in my mind, and it never left my mind, but I am the one that's responsible for throwing it out there and sticking that identity to that person. You know, and in Spanish, there's a saying, when you do something like that, you put your like chaqueta on him. You know, it's like you throw that jacket on him, and that's who he is, and that's who his identity is right now. So let's see. So let's see, where was I? Okay. So anyway, so I'm now realizing what I'm doing. I'm not feeling good about this whole bag full of reasons and justifications and all of this that I can defend myself and actually get a pretty good offensive going against her, because I'm totally righteous and correct in being that victim of that world. And so anyway, so now as I start looking at it, and I start looking at my truth, and looking at pulling myself up above the situation and more into a observer role, then the first things that come into my mind, of course, there was a whole thing that she's doing the projection. That's one of the things. And so the next thing that comes into my mind is that it's a call for love from her. Like what she's doing right now is in the Course it says everything is either love or a call for love, which is basically it's either an extension or it is a projection. So I look at her and I say, okay, what I really should be doing right now is I really should be in a more compassionate frame of mind. I should be more in a forgiveness frame of mind, because what she's doing is she is calling out for love. That whole strategy of her projecting out is because, first of all, she doesn't know any better. She's threatened, and all she really needs and all she's really looking for is returning home and back to that person, that love that is her true identity of who she really is. So I start moving into that consciousness as far as that this is for her. It is a call for love. And so as I'm going through that, then what comes to mind for me is that if I'm recognizing all of this for her, a call for love for her, I wouldn't be able to recognize it unless it is something that I own or something that I identify with, because I can't see something, identify with it if it's not true for me. And I notice this more and more, because the things that used to bother me, they're still there. The same people are doing the same thing, and nothing has changed at all. But I don't notice the things happening anymore because I don't live there anymore. I'm not offended or take those things personal because that personality of the ego has been healed, has been recognized for the nothingness that it is. So as I do that recognition and heal those certain parts, I do see in my life right now that my life is getting more peaceful because I'm not triggered by so many of the ego's hooks to hook me in and make me that victim of the world and make me the poor guy that's getting attacked and the poor cat that's never loved and all the evidence that the ego is looking for to prove itself right. But I'm happy to say that the evidence is getting a little bit shaky nowadays. I question the evidence nowadays when it comes up. I don't necessarily believe the evidence that the ego is throwing out that I'm not worthy. If someone says something to me and I can make a decision on what it really means. Is it coming from love or is it coming from fear? But it's my decision. Even if the person is coming from fear and attacking me, it's still my decision on what I'm going to see. Am I going to see this person as the spiritual Christhood of who he really is, or am I going to see his ego there and treat his ego as real? Am I going to treat his fear as real? And am I going to react to that fear, thinking that his personal thoughts, his private thoughts, his self-beliefs can actually hurt me? They can actually affect me. They can actually take something away from me. So that's still a choice. That is a choice that I can make, and it is occurring with me more and more in my life, that the stuff that used to bother me doesn't bother me. Some of it doesn't bother me anymore, and I've kind of like just forgot all about it, and other stuff that comes up, I'm still working past it, but it's not that I'm working on that past situation. I think it's once the level of the recognition of God gets raised, then everything gets healed at that level. I have an experience where this part of my life gets healed, and then the other part just nothing happens with it at all. For my experience is that everything across the board gets healed. Everything across the board, is a little less stimulating my defenses and all of that. It all happens for me at the same level. It's like I think once you come to the level of recognition, everything is recognized. Every instance is recognized. That's the way my experience is, and what I believe is the stronger my attachments are, those are the ones that those triggers are taking a little bit more time to to dissolve into the nothingness that they are. And then some of the other stuff is that the attachment isn't so strong, that my ego has not gripped and hung on to that for its identity as much as something else. For instance, maybe it's my car. Something means a lot more to me than, let's say, a pair of shoes that I'm wearing. So now I don't, it doesn't bother me what pair of shoes I'm wearing or what's going on with that. But still, if something happened to my car, then it would be a lot more of a major crisis for me. So anyway, back to what I was talking about as far as the call for love. And what I recognize is that if I'm seeing a call for love, that means that I am the one that needs the call for love. I am the one that needs to be healed if I'm ever even seeing a call for love that is out there. If I didn't see the call for love, then my healing would have been done. I wouldn't even recognize her that she needed a call for love if I didn't need that call for love in myself. And I forget who said it at the New York conference that I was at this year. Someone had used it in their talk. They were saying, like, if you spot it, you got it. I'm not sure who said it. Maybe it was I don't know. I don't even want to speculate who it was. I went to so many good talks. And I try to keep that in mind. If I'm spotting something in anyone, that means that I spot it because I have it, because I recognize it. I know what it is. It's in my experience. It's part of me, and that's the reason I can spot it. It's just like, I don't know Chinese, so that people's going to talk to me in Chinese. I'm not going to know what they said, but if I do recognize it, then so it's what I know. What I know is the only way that I can recognize it. If if I've never seen Lynn before, I can walk right by her and I wouldn't know who she is. So, but because I recognize her, then I'll know who she is when I walk by her. So that was one of the more interesting things that had happened with me, because I recognized in that way that I'm the one that needs the call for love, and in me needing the call for love, it really makes me realize that everything, that whole dynamic of what she did, is everything that I just handled in the exact same way. No difference at all. So it's that easy for me still nowadays for someone to say something like that, and I'm off and running. I'm gone, and not even recognizing what I'm doing, and I'm doing the exact same thing that I would say, some poor ignorant guy doesn't have the course and don't know what he's doing and all that. As soon as I ever get into that point where I start judging someone as as less than me, then more than likely I'm probably on a lower level than he is. I don't know. Maybe not because I recognize it. I don't know. But that's the ego. The ego needs that specialness, that specialness to make up for the lack of self-love that I feel for myself because of the separation. I can't really know love living in an ego consciousness, because the ego consciousness doesn't know love. The ego's consciousness believes, specialness is that love. Somebody treats me special, then they're treating me special because they love me. But as I've found out, that quote unquote love comes with some conditions, comes with some roles that I have to play in order for that recognition and that specialness to keep coming from that person in my life. And another thing that I kind of also thought of, just bringing up like that special relationship, is that this girl using our ministry as something to complain about has formed that special relationship with us, because when she's in that situation, we are the chosen ones to make her feel special, to make her be better than us, to where she can point her finger at us, so she can tell us that we're inconsiderate because she's better than us, because she puts everything away or whatever in her mind she does, and we don't. So that's her identity now, is better than us, and so we're that special relationship for her, that where she can enjoy her specialness from us. When she needs to feel special and it's coming out, she's going to find something to blame. If it's not us, it may be some other area in her life or whatever. But in that church, we are that special relationship for her, to give her specialness, so she can feel that love that she's not getting, because there's got to be a reason, right, that she isn't feeling the love, and has got to be something to do with these people that can't put shit away. I don't know if I can say that in the on the radio. Sorry, Lynn. That's another strategy of the ego. We have, as ego beings, we have our special relationships that don't necessarily have to be special love relationships, but they can be that special relationship when we're around them. We can put people down and judge or whatever, and there are special relationship to feel better about ourselves, to feel we're better than, and for the time being, or whatever that length of time is, that that we think that we're okay. We think we're not as we believe that we are, and those relationships are probably just as deceiving as a special love relationship, because even by putting someone down, we're going to get what we think that we are and what we want, which is, acknowledgement and specialness. They, in a special love relationship, they or we, or I should say, that there's a whole dynamic of I do this and you do that, and we put a role here and a role there, and we make that role mean something, even if it's something simple as a kiss in the morning or something. You walk out and you don't do that kiss, then that means a whole dynamic of you don't love me, you don't care for me, and so we got to watch what we're doing, because we're breaking the rules. We're that wasn't part of the deal. The deal is it's got to be consistent, and the other part of the deal is you're supposed to know it, even though it isn't told to you. You're just supposed to automatically know it, or I'm just supposed to automatically know it, or I expect her to automatically know it. She's supposed to read my mind on that. But those are the ego strategies of specialness. So I guess I'm kind of moving into specialness now, as I'm explaining this thing that happened. Okay. And so the next thing that phase of processing what had happened works out into an area of responsibility. And by responsibility, I am thinking that they, as the church board, made that decision to let us use that place, and ultimately it is their decision that, or I don't want to say it's their fault, but they're responsible for the decisions that they make. So and once again, it's not what we do, even if we're we're screwing up even 2-3 times worse, and we're screwing up every single day. At some point in time, instead of them blaming us and saying we're the inconsiderate ones, it's still their responsibility for the decision that they make. And it to me, it is them projecting that victimhood and everything, and not really owning the decisions that they made. And that's one thing that I really like about the course, because they make me responsible for everything. I mean, even for being born, and for even me choosing the tiny mat idea. I chose it. And the reason I love that so much, because if I chose it, I can change my mind about it again. It's not a foregone conclusion that I'm here on this earth and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just the hopeless victim of the world, and we do have, or I do have, that choice of I mean, it is a dream. There's no doubt about it. The dream is as evident as 1 + 1 = 2, but I still have a choice to do my forgiveness work, and I do have a choice to have the happy dream, to make the most out of my experience on a daily level, on an hour by hour level. It is my choice how I am going to experience each moment with my life here on earth. And that is one of the main things the Course has given me. The Course has given me that belief that I can determine my experience in any situation, any circumstance, and all of that. I have got the capabilities, God-given capabilities, to do how I'm going to experience my life. For me, that is what it's all about. Is what I have here in this physical body. All I have is my experience of it. Is the experience of I can be in pain, or it can be, I'm not going to say ecstasy, but it could be a very fulfilling life, and it is getting that way more and more as I take more and more control. And I don't even want to say more and more control. It's more of a letting go, of a releasing, of trusting. As I do more and more that, then everything I really want is already there, and everything I really want gets revealed. And that's the choice that I'm making. The choices I'm making for everything that's true. I'm making the choice for everything that's real. I'm making the choice for everything that matters. Really, basically anything that I could ever really want, I already am. And it's just a matter of recognizing it and being it, And so back to the board members over there at the church is like, if they had taken that responsibility and they chose, I want peace first, then anything that we do really, it wouldn't really affect them. It would be just like part of the process, part of the responsibility of having someone come in and share a space. They could come in and say, okay, well, this is part of the thing we got to do. We got to look around for stuff. We got to play, whatever, hide and seek, or whatever they do, and we got to go buy new stuff or whatever, and that's part of the thing that we do by having someone here. And they can do that on a peaceful level. They can do that on a happy level, and not let their peace be spoiled by little incidents like that, And I'm realizing that my peace is more valuable to me than having to be right or having inconveniences like that ruin my day, because the experience of peace is getting more and more valuable to me as I get to experience more and more longer times of it, and a deeper peace, and more loving, not feelings, but more a loving reality of my situation, and the more meaningful the relationships that I have, the joining of one Christ consciousness to another, and sharing that Christ consciousness with someone, is wonderful. It's beyond anything I've ever was able to do in a special relationship, by far, So, anyways, that in I guess in a nutshell, in closing, would be just them having the taking that responsibility for being in charge, for owning the decision that they had, because I mean, they could have a very happy board there. They can have a very happy church and don't look at it as a burden dealing with us, and I can honestly see me doing that, and I do see that in my life. Like I was saying, the stuff that used to bother me doesn't anymore. I'm able to let go, and same thing with people. Stuff that used to bother me with people, like in my business. The workers sometimes do stuff that used to drive me nuts. Because I knew of a more efficient way, a better way of doing things, and it was like the only choice was to do it my way, which is by reason the best way to do it. But not anymore. I mean, I'd rather be happy than be right. And if this guy he wants to do it inefficiently or whatever, and then so be it. I don't need to be in micromanaging, in charge of everything anybody and everybody does in my life. So anyways, I didn't think I was going to talk about that whole incident for a whole hour, but I guess I did. So I will turn the mic back over to Lynn. And once again, Lynn, I want to tell you that I appreciate this very much. I'm feeling more and more comfortable doing this, and I hope I get to stick around for a while. So I'm going to turn the mic on over to you, Lynn, and thank you very, very much.
Hey, Tom, thanks a lot. I'll turn the mic over to Lynn. Lynn, do you want to say thank you to Tom? I'm going to let the mic go.
Oh, thank you so much, Larry. Yeah, I didn't want to go into your time, but thank you so much, Tom. And I so appreciate your joy. I just knew you were a nice guy that was helping Tom and Brittany. Basically, that's how I first knew of you, and then I got to see how you were working with Veronica and how you were working with Maria Felipe, and I thought, my gosh, here's a guy that's really probably got something good to say, and sure enough, you do. So thank you so much, Tom, and I'm turning the mic now over to Larry for the nightly contemplation.
All righty then. Thank you, Tom. Really always enjoy hearing your sharing, and I guess it was totally meant to be able to kind of like, air all that stuff out, I'm sure it was a great release, letting it go. Letting it go, letting go, letting go, letting